Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a real masterclass on how to keep a mammoth enterprise relevant in a world that is shifting, honestly, faster than ever before. We're going to look really closely at India's largest integrated energy company, IndianOil, to see exactly how they maintain their dominance in this wildly, rapidly evolving modern energy landscape. We are breaking down how a legacy public sector enterprise doesn't just, survive, but actively shapes the economic pulse of an entire nation.
So, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the anatomy of a giant. Then we'll map the market and break down their 4 strategic pillars. After that, we'll navigate their specific threats and opportunities, and finally, take a look at how they are sustaining their legacy. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the anatomy of a giant. We really need to establish the sheer scale of India's energy behemoth. Okay, 60,000 customer touchpoints. Just let that staggering number sink in for a second. We're talking about their physical distribution network here, fuel stations, LPG distributors, and rural outlets that serve as the literal arteries of the nation. It's an infrastructure web so dense, so incredibly comprehensive, that it creates a massive competitive advantage before a single marketing campaign is even launched.
And they're not just out there pumping petrol. Their ecosystem covers everything from traditional fuels to forward-looking renewable energy. We're talking refining, managing vast pipelines, supplying aviation fuel plus petrochemicals and natural gas. They are a fully integrated giant. They essentially control the entire value chain from the moment energy is processed right up until it reaches the consumer.
Moving right along to Section 2, mapping the market. Let's look at their segmentation, targeting, and positioning.
So how exactly do you segment a billion people? It's a completely fascinating challenge. How do you market a product that literally every single sector of the economy relies upon? When your customer base spans from a solo farmer running a tractor all the way up to international airlines and national defense, traditional marketing categories get stretched to their absolute limits.
Well, the secret sauce is how they map these broad segments directly to surgically precise targets. Sure, they segment broadly by individual consumers, commercial industries, agriculture, and government. But their targeting, it is laser-focused. They target urban vehicle owners with premium fuels, while making absolutely sure rural households get their Indian LPG. They target massive commercial fleet operators right alongside airlines. Every single segment has a rigorously tailored strategy. And think about the brand trust it takes to position yourself not just as a vendor, but as the indispensable engine driving a whole country forward. The energy of India, that's their core positioning statement. It is so much more than a catchy slogan. It's a powerful identity built on decades of reliability, nationwide availability, and some seriously deep-rooted customer trust.
Okay, let's dive into Section 3, the 4 pillars, where we'll deconstruct their marketing mix.
Starting under product, you can really see their evolution. Of course, you've got the legacy staples, petrol, diesel, Indian LPG, servo lubricants, but to stay on top, they've branched out into bitumen, petrochemicals, CNG, and LNG. And here's where things get really exciting. They are aggressively pushing into EV charging, biofuels, and green hydrogen. Their product portfolio isn't just sitting still. They are actively bridging the massive gap between fossil fuels and clean energy.
When it comes to price, honestly, IndianOil walks an incredibly delicate tightrope. As a public sector enterprise, they have to stick to strict government pricing guidelines for essential fuels, but they still have to battle it out with private oil companies. To make it work, they offer highly competitive rates, lean into loyalty rewards, and roll out value-added premium fuels where they can actually command slightly higher margins. Now place, this is arguably their absolute biggest weapon. Like we touched on earlier, this vast physical infrastructure of bulk terminals, aviation stations, and cross-country pipelines gives them a structural monopoly in certain areas. It's literally one of Asia's largest distribution networks. Trying to replicate this strategy wouldn't just take billions of dollars, it would take decades. It's the ultimate competitive moat. And for promotion, it's not just about the classic TV ads and festival promos anymore. IndianOil is heavily integrating mobile apps, online LPG bookings, digital payments, and even AI-enabled customer service. They are leveraging data to completely modernize what used to be a purely physical transaction. It's a huge shift from their legacy of sports sponsorships to a really robust digital transformation.
Next up, Section 4, navigating threats and opportunities. Welcome to the competitive battlefield.
Because look, IndianOil doesn't operate in a vacuum, right? They are constantly battling fierce public rivals like Bharat Petroleum and Hindustan Petroleum, plus super agile private players like Reliance Industries and AR Energy. This isn't just a price war. It's a constant, everyday battle over network coverage, brand trust, technology, and overall supply chain efficiency.
But being that colossal comes with a pretty hefty cost. While their strengths are obvious, The largest network in India, massive government support, and credible brand recognition, they do suffer from high operating expenses and a heavy dependence on volatile crude oil prices. And because they're a public sector entity, they can sometimes be slowed down by bureaucratic decision-making and those strict government pricing regulations we mentioned.
Looking outward, the global shift toward EVs and tough environmental regulations are literal existential threats to their traditional model. Toss in geopolitical supply chain disruptions and volatile crude prices, and the stakes are just sky high. But, and this is key, these exact same threats are creating their biggest opportunities. The transition to EV infrastructure, green hydrogen, and biofuels gives Indian Oil a profound chance to totally reinvent itself.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Sustaining the Legacy and Greening the Future.
A huge part of keeping that legacy alive is corporate social responsibility. And let's be real, this isn't just charity for them. These are highly strategic investments in brand trust. By pouring resources into rural development, healthcare, and education, they weave themselves right into the fabric of society. Plus, their focus on environmental conservation and carbon reduction shows the market that they are absolutely taking the green transition seriously.
So, this all builds a really clear three-part roadmap for survival. 1. Continuous investment in infrastructure and the supply chain. 2. Doubling down on customer-focused digital services to drive loyalty. And 3. Relentless innovation in cleaner energy. If they can nail these 3 steps, they lock in their future.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to chew on. We've seen Indian Oil's unmatched reach, their trusted brand, and their major digital pivots. But the ultimate test remains. In a world that is actively racing to ditch fossil fuels, can a legacy oil giant truly overcome regulatory red tape and crude oil dependency to become the green energy leader of tomorrow? Thanks for hanging out with me today, and keep questioning the mechanics behind the systems that power our world.